Hello, everybody, and welcome to iConixxx Live. I am Cassie Boyd, and I'm sitting in for none other than Joseph Whitnick, which is weird because I never thought I'd sit in for Joseph, but I am, and I'm happy to be here. This is our 49th episode, and you can catch them on iConixxx Live on YouTube. And iConixxx started with Joseph almost leaving us, and a friend gave him a call and said, before you go anywhere, before any of us go anywhere, we're going to need to document some things and some people on their stories. So hence, Joseph reached out to the beautiful Chris Sorby, who is my icon, and asked if she would join in this documentary that we have created over the last year and a half. Myself, I came on board, and another partner, Chris's husband, Andy, and our beautiful woman in Peru, Lima, Peru, Julia. So here we are today with our 49th episode. Excited for this beautiful lady. I'm going to turn it over to Chris, my sister from another mister.
Thanks, Cassie. And here I am in Oxford in the UK. And I'm very pleased to say we're having a heat wave here, which is so unusual. But because we don't all have air conditioning in our homes, we're all melting. But anyway, Cassie, you can totally fill in for Joseph anytime. And because you're way more polite than he is. So it's all good. But anyway, enough about that. Our iConixxx guest today was named Most Innovative Female Entrepreneur of the Year. That is quite a title. She's an international speaker, an author, business mentor. She has more than 25 years of expertise in high-end business startups. She helped hundreds of entrepreneurs get clarity and create more profits with less stress. How cool is that? With that, she creates extraordinary success for others. Meet the exceptional Maria Fontana. Maria, hi.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Cassie. I'm so happy to be here with you ladies. It's an honor. And boy, that introduction was gave me goosebumps. You were talking about me. It sounded really great.
Yes, fantastic job.
I know.
It's true, Maria. You earned every word of that. You really are an exceptional lady. And we're delighted to be able to ask you questions that we can all get to know you better. Yeah. And what I love is that our audience will realize just how approachable that you are, despite your accolades, despite your successes, and how you mentor people. So with that, I'm going to ask you, what would you say is the most important lesson that life has taught you?
Most important? Well, there's two. You got to love yourself unconditionally, and you can reboot yourself anytime you want.
Oh, cool. I love that. Oh, by the way, anyone that's out there, it'd be a really good idea to have a pen and a piece of paper, because you just heard a nugget of a comment from Maria. And if you wouldn't mind repeating it, what was it? What's the most important lesson that life has taught you?
So to me, it's to love yourself unconditionally, meaning, again, if I go back to my younger self, and by no one's fault of their own, and I talk about this in some of the books, and actually one of the books I'm going to be publishing this fall, no one teaches us to love ourselves. And once again, it's not, our parents' fault or our caregivers. It's just generational. Like, they were doing the best they could with what they knew how. But I learned you have to love yourself unconditionally. Like, you have to be your biggest fan. If you don't believe in loving yourself, nobody else will. And you can reboot and reinvent yourself anytime. Like, there's no time limit. Like, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that. Anytime.
Yeah, and I think someone who I feel is a great example of that is Madonna. I mean, yes. She did it over and over and over and over. And, how fabulous is she? So thank you for that. Great comments. Cassie, what are you going to ask Maria?
When we look at like the bigger picture, Joseph really had in mind when he came to Chris and started this, and that's why it's such a beautiful dynamic between the two. He is a school owner, and one of the first school owners was Summit, and he's always encouraging his students to get onto iConixxx and watch these icons, because these students have influencers, right? We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. So if you were to share that to a student, how would you break that down? If it was their first day of school and you were presenting to them, what would be the one thing you'd say to them to get them kicked off?
Well, this is something that, is close to my heart. I do mentor in the local community vocational schools in the area. I live in New Jersey. And I will, I work for Monmouth County Vocational School District. I offer my services. I go in and I do help. It's part of something I like to give back to the community, because I am a product of vocational school. Like, that's how my career started. And so something I do tell them on the first day is, I say to them, I show them the facts about how amazing this industry is, what this industry offered to me, what I've been able to evolve from being a product of vocational school, and how impactful it is to learn from wise gurus. I call us gurus. I say to them, listen, I might look old to you because, right now you're looking at me like, oh, lady, be quiet, like as if I'm talking to my kid. But the impact, when you look at them straight in the eyes, Cassie, and I'm telling you, because I just experienced this with the graduating class of that just graduated this June. And I was there giving them awards because they really got connected to me. They want to learn from us. They want the love. They want the support. So anyone that says that it's the next generation, they don't care, it's not true. I think, what would I say to them? I just tell them the truth. I tell them my truth. I tell them the journey. I tell them, look at all this free stuff you have. I'm like, we didn't have YouTube. And they get a kick out of that. And it opens up such an opportunity for them to learn. And I will tell you, any of the students that I have mentored, they will be watching this iConixxx. Maybe not today, but I'm sure because they all follow me on Instagram now. They think, Miss Fontana's cool. They love me because I share the truth and I give them hope. And I show them you can become a 6-7 figure earner, but you have to own the magic that you're an expert and a professional. You are never just a hairdresser. So put that in your noggin. You're a surgeon. You're like the dentist. They don't do root canals in backyards and don't do anyone's hair in the backyard. And they just start laughing. And again, there's so much I could share with you, but this is something that's very, very dear to my heart, because that's the future. That is the future. So I think I got off the subject.
No.
That's the thing. It's such a massive subject that the more that you can speak from the heart and share with others, regardless of age, the better. Because I think, Maria, feel free that if something is flowing and you feel it's relevant, that keep going. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry about that.
I do think it's relevant, Chris. I don't mean to interrupt you, Cassie, but like I said, this was something that I've been doing this for, I'm going to say since 2001. I offer my services. I go in, I'll just give them a workshop. I teach them about how to use social media intelligently and with integrity, and how to grow your brand, how to launch their own. I bring in things to pique their interest that's outside of the state board curriculum. Like, I speak from New Jersey because that's what I'm familiar with, and just to pump them up a little bit. And to me, it's an honor. And when I go in with love, I believe in leading with love. And when I show these kids that I really love them and I give a hoot and, like I'm excited, they get excited. So I think it inspires even the administrators. It inspires maybe a little bit of change. I'm always trying to make things better and give ideas to the local schools. Like, hey, let's maybe bring some of this in. Maybe try this. Maybe try that. Sometimes they don't listen to me, but I don't give up. And again, it's not something this is an extra part of my career that I do it because it actually motivates me. Do you know when you're around younger people, I actually get motivated. I'm like, oh, look at that. Maybe let me learn something new. Well, let me see. What are they doing? What's going on? Show me. What's this TikTok? Is this really going to help me? Show me how you do it. It sounds crazy, but it's so powerful. And I think all these little nuggets work together in the world of business and in love and personal development and growing, right?
And I think also with what you're saying, Maria, when we as educators which Cassie is also, if we show how excited we are about our industry and our role within it, that excitement is contagious. And also it relates to when our client walks through the door. If the salon is full of excitement and a buzz and they want to be at that party, you know, it all rubs off. Whereas if you're like, we're talking like that, you know, it's that doesn't cut it. But thank you. And I love how you really elaborated on the question that Cassie asked you. So here's another one for you. What do you owe your parents?
What do I owe my parents? I owe them my morals, my integrity, my work ethic, my culture, my love and passion of art and creativity. My parents are first generation, they're Italian immigrants in the US. They worked their butts off. They worked really, really hard. You know, I speak openly about this. They were dysfunctional, but anyone who tells me that their family's not as full of baloney. I have, you know, again, I'm going to go off a little bit. But I speak openly about this in my business, on my podcast, so I don't hide it in my books. But I've worked on myself for 22 years. I have 22 years of heavy duty personal development work. Yeah, it started out with a therapist. For anybody who's watching, yes, you know, you may need to go to therapy. But let's backtrack. What I give my parents is they were open to entrepreneurship. You know, my father was like old school Italian immigrant, but guess what? When I said to him, I want to become a hairdresser, I want a business, I don't want to do this and do that, I'll go to college afterwards. He was like, okay. I opened my first business at 19. I saved money with 3 part-time jobs. I mean, who does that? I didn't realize it while I was doing it, but my parents, as much as, you know, in the big scheme of things, it looks like they weren't supportive and this and that. But honestly, now that I'm a parent and I have kids that age, they were supportive. I lived at home. I mean, I had a beautiful salon. My father was a contractor. He helped me build the salon. So going back, my mother's a business guru, a brainiac. So I learned many business things from her, even though you wouldn't know it. So once again, what do I owe them? I owe them a lot because they made me who I am today. Dysfunction and all, because guess what? If it wasn't for the dysfunction, I would not have worked on myself and I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right. It's so true.
So what did your mum do?
My mother is by trade, she was a seamstress. But she became a real estate mogul. Her and my father started buying destroyed homes in New Jersey and, you know, I grew up working on homes, like, you know, fixing houses on the weekends. Like that was normal when you were a kid. And they would flip them. But this was before anybody flipped houses. So they actually generated generational wealth for us. Then they bought properties in Italy. We turned them into rental properties. So I come from, I mean, if you see my parents, and if, you know, my relatives see this, they'll be like, oh, Maria, what are you saying? If you see them, you would never know. They're millionaires, but that's because they worked their asses off and created with really intense work ethic. So that, and my father was a contractor his whole life. He's 92 now. He's still trying to, you know, putz around and do things, but they created an empire by working hard and having integrity and investing.
Yeah. Wow. You know, that is what that generation did, because nothing was handed on a plate. And I come from a similar background. Mine were Polish, not Italian, but I really appreciate what they taught me, and that they put me to work at a very, very early age. And I love that. And I'm trying to, Charlie, my stepson is 9 now. And I'm constantly trying to put him to work, and he won't have any of it. So what am I doing?
In my house, Chris, if you slept past 7, they came in and wanted to know what was wrong with you. You know, it's just, I still wake up at 5 a.m. Like some of these things I just carried on. But that's what made me who I am today, that work ethic. You know, Sundays, I cook for my family, and I'm I'm a great mom. Well, I don't know if my kids think so, but I think they do. But, you know, I care about things that are, at the end of the day, the important stuff.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you touched on something when you read my mind. I was going to ask you, I wanted to see where this picture started. So you were 19, you graduated beauty school, right? So
Oh,
a lot of students who graduate, the first thing you ask them what their goal is, I want to have my own salon.
mm-hmm,
And being a salon owner multiple times,
mm-hmm.
I'm trying to sell my salon, you know, so we come like maybe full circle.
Oh
But
yeah, I've had 10. I get it. Trust me. I'm on number 10.
oh my gosh.
Hey.
So
Oh.
what would you say to them? What's the most important nugget to them? Another one that would be, okay, so you want to own your own salon, here's the path you need to take. Like I heard work hard. What are some other?
Okay. Well, I would even say, but besides work hard, have an open mind and always have a mentor. So I also openly always give credit for my success to the people I worked for. Now, mind you, I started at 15 shampooing at the corner salon down the street from my house because I could walk there. This was before I even got into school. So by the time I was in vocational school, that was 11th and 12th grade. And, you know, that's how it worked here where I went to school. And when I was 17, I graduated in June, I got my license and I was running. So I started freelancing. I had 3 jobs in 3 different salons. I was respectful. I was honest to all 3 owners. They were in different towns, different areas. People weren't as crazy back then with stealing and doing weird stuff and taking people's customers. But I was honest. And I was like, listen, I work here, and I work here. My goal is to eventually own and start my own salon. Are you okay with that? Now, I was 17. When I think back, that was pretty, you know, I don't know, pretty good of me to say that. So there were 3 different salons. I worked in one mom and pop salon, which was my first job that I stayed with. And she was a roller set salon. She taught me the basics, but I learned the bread and butter of the business. Okay. So she mentored me in a way that then she would go to Italy all summer and leave the salon to me to manage at 17, 18 years old. And I handled it. Those were all steadies, you know, wash and set and, you know, the rinse, the roux rinse that you put on. I mean, it was like, I can tease and do a hairstyle that'll stay for a month. You know, that's what I learned from that. And I learned how to communicate and listen, have tolerance. You know, I was a kid and a lot of those clients were mature women. My other job was at a very high-end salon. And I distinctly remember that we weren't even doing foils yet. And I had gone to Italy and saw my aunt in Milan in her salon using foil. And I said to them, I saw this thing in Italy. Can I try it? And I remember starting to foil and bring that in there. So I'm getting off the subject again. So the point is this, definitely have a mentor and work with integrity and have an open mind. Because even today, 35 years later, I'm learning every day, guys. I'm taking classes. I'm constantly upgrading my level, my hair color products. You can't think you know it all ever. You never know it all. So that's what I would tell anyone who wants to open a salon. You need 3 years, you know, of experience, at least here in New Jersey, before you can open a salon. But you also need to be mentored. You need to have a strong, really passion and presence for where you want to go with your business. And you really need to know that you're going to learn something from every single person you're around. You know, again, you can see 50 million people doing a touch up and 50 million people, you're going to learn something different from them. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's okay. And one other thing I'm really a stickler about is respect and collaboration. If you come to New Jersey within a 50-mile radius, every single salon owner and myself have a relationship. I support, I endorse. I went to another salon this morning and got my hair blown out. A friend of mine who owns an amazing salon, because I didn't feel like doing it. No one's in my salon today. I was like, you know what? Other people would think that's weird. Why do you go to other salons? Why are you friends with other salon owners? I believe in collaboration, support. Another salon locally, they had a flood. Come, let's share my space. Come. It's not about being cutthroat. It's about collaborating. There's plenty for everyone. There's so much abundance and so much money. It's the mindset that you have to shift. So once again, sorry, Cass, I get off target.
So, Cassie, don't we love that Maria gets off target, because she's like well, this is important, that's important, because her passion oozes out of her every pore. So I'm going to ask you something. You've mentioned mentor a couple of times now during our time together. If you were talking to a student who's about to leave, obviously they've had their mentors at school and so on. If they were looking for a mentor, how do they go about finding one? I mean, is there a list of them somewhere, or mentor directory, or how does that happen?
There really isn't, but this is what I tell the kids. If I personally would say this: go to different salons and go get your hair blown out, go get your nails done, go get your facial done, whatever their line of work is.
Mm-hmm.
Find an ambiance, find a culture that you're attracted to, that like pulls at your soul, and then simply ask, are you hiring an apprentice? I'm looking to be mentored. I'm looking for a beginner level position to learn. I like your style. I like what you do. Or follow them on Instagram. Nowadays they have Instagram. You can tell who the blonding specialist is. You can tell who the cutting specialist is. Really, I think anyone who's a mature, successful beauty professional, salon professional, I think they would be honored to take someone under their wing. I think there's plenty of people who would do that. But I think the kids also have to ask. There are a lot of opportunities out there, but just ask.
Yeah. And I love how you're putting that personal spin on it, that it's, don't just go on Instagram and see who's got the most followers and okay, this person's got 500,000 followers, they must be good. It doesn't always work that way, with all due respect. They could be good at many different things that a student just leaving school might not be ready for yet.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is about, check out your area. You don't even have to leave home almost.
Right.
Just go and connect with somebody, and then chat with them. Yeah. I love that. And
I just finished mentoring someone, and I just helped her open her own salon about 5 miles away. She had allergies. Right now, my boutique salon is organic hair color. That's my niche and my specialty in my area. And she had called me. She didn't know me. She goes, one of my friends told me you have an organic salon. You're really good. You're in business a long time. Can I come in and talk to you? Sure. I said, come on in. We'll have coffee. I mentored her. I let her see her clients here. I cultivated. I shared what I knew with her. Again, this is not something like I'm getting paid for. This is like the give back mode of what I do in the world, because I believe in karma, and it feels good. And you know what? Then she was like, I really want to open a salon. I go, well, go for it. I go, make sure you do blah, 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 blah. I told her what to do. She wanted to hire me as a consultant. I said, I really don't think you need me. Do these steps. And then if you need help, you can, work with me afterwards. And she stayed with me about 4 months. She learned what she had to do. She was at another salon. She was unhappy. And I helped her open her business, and she just launched her salon. And honestly, a lot of people are afraid to do that. They're so afraid of loss. Again, it's that lack money mindset. They're going to take my business. They're going to walk away and take my clients. Well, guess what? If any of my young clients that saw her working here liked her and thinks maybe that she is a better fit for them, awesome. I'll attract another 2 clients that are better fit for me. I don't believe in that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. That's such a beautiful mindset. And I think, not all, but the younger generation coming into it, it can be cutthroat. And, having that open mind and that heart, it's really about heart. It really, really is. That's something.
And we're an example. Like,
lead by example, for sure.
We have to lead by example, because I know, and again, I'm in this industry 35 years, and I know you ladies understand where I'm coming from. There is a lot of toxicity and negativity. I speak the truth, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I think we all need to look in the mirror and be like, you know what? What do I need to do to change maybe me, or how I'm reacting to something, or how I am showing up for myself or for my team, or for your clients? Because if we're not working on ourselves personally, guys, like I just don't believe anything you do is going to be 100% successful, period. I mean, this is my perspective on life and everything.
I would agree 100%. You know, I would love to take it to, all right, you opened your salons at 19. How long did you have that salon? And then how long until you really jumped into, like I said, I was looking at your website and it's just beautifully done. And yeah, I love the store. I love the presentation. I just love your heart.
Guys.
You're so open. It's really, really refreshing and beautiful. So how did that journey, what did it look like?
So what it looked like, I'll give you a quick synopsis. So I opened the first salon at 19 and I had like, it's funny, I'm writing about this in the book I'm contributing author to now, which is really interesting. So I had 14 years of wild success. Like I was just super successful. It was like 1990. I was making high six figures. I was killing it. I had no concept of how successful I was. I was working hard, but I was operating from a place of intuition and really just wanting to be, I was just me. So I did all these special things, like my salon was beautiful and I had fresh coffee and fresh flowers every day. And I made sure there was always treats. Like nobody did that then yet. Does that make sense? Like I had beautiful water and a refrigerator. Like I did all these things that to me, I'm like, what would I want? You know, what do I want to feel like? I was super picky about who answered the phone because I myself, if I call like a doctor, let's just say I need to go to a doctor for something, and the chick that answers the phone has an attitude, you lost me. If I walk into your business and you're not like emanating this like loving, safe feeling, I run. If I go for blood work and the lady who's about to take my blood looks like she's like all pissed off, I'm out of there. So I always, and this is I think a gift I have, I always stepped back and I'm like, what would I want to feel like here? You know, what does it feel like when I went to go get my hair blown out down the street, and like, what didn't I like? And let me make sure we don't do that here. So I had the salon and then I opened a tanning salon about 4 doors down. And then that became an explosive business. And that was even easier to run because I didn't need any skill or talent. I just needed someone to man the tanning beds. Now, mind you, this was the 90s, so people were tanning like crazy. That business blew up. Then I was just on autopilot. I just kept, I'm passionate. So I was like, ooh, you know, like I want to do this. Let me add this. Let me add that. So I was wildly successful for 14 years. Then I hit a wall. I had gotten married and, you know, the marriage went south. I then had 2 small children. I wound up in financial destruction. I basically lost everything. I lost my home. I lost my business. I had 2 babies. And, you know, it was like, how could this happen to me? Like I had my shit together, but you know, you go into this survival mode and I was depressed. I had gained 100 pounds. I was trying to hide that I was like falling apart. So fast forward, one of my clients, I'll never forget her. She has since then passed away. I was doing her hair and I must have been just disconnected. She could feel my energy, even though I really tried to hide it. I was just not in a good place. And that was not me. She hands me a card and she goes, Maria, when you're ready, call this person. I took the card. I'm like, oh, a therapist, I thought, because I was not who I am today. I was like, oh my God, I said too much. What does she think? There's something wrong with me? I totally lost my mind because that's where I was at the moment. Okay. Fast forward one day when I was in the midst of this dark hell and just thought I was not gonna, I thought I was having a heart attack. I was constantly going to the ER. I was in just a bad place. I picked up the phone and I called that number.
Ghostbusters.
That's where everything changed. I started working on myself. It was not easy. It was really hard. Lots of personal development, lots of healing work. I got through the divorce. I survived. And then I said, this was like in a short period of time, I have to like rebuild my life. Like I was in $500,000 in debt from my ex-husband. I lost my home. Like I said, I went from being like up here to like someone dropping me off a building. And I'm not crying like poor me, the victim mode, because it's absolutely not the way it was. It was more like, oh my God, I guess this was the lesson I had to learn to snap out of it. It was an awakening. It really was an awakening because it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So fast forward then, I figured out I had to reinvent myself. I had to take care of my kids. I had to get my shit together. So I pulled together like $5,000. I don't even know how I did it. I don't even remember now. And I opened a small salon. I moved out of town. I started over. I just started over. And I thought, I know what I'm doing because I've done this before. And now it's survival mode, man. I got 2 little kids I got to take care of, and they're looking up to me. So I've got to fix this. And I started once again, step by step. And then I opened another 8 salons, flipped them. I had a bright idea of buying salons that were going under. I would go in and kind of like, the real estate people, and I would flip them around. I would make a team, and then I started making money. I started paying off my debt. But in my mind, my goal was always to help people. So I was like, I really don't want to be behind the chair forever. My body started to go. And this is the truth. You got to speak the truth too. I had back problems, this and that, whatever. So I continued to work on myself. And after so I had the salon, another 6 salons, a tanning salon. I opened a cab company. I opened a cab company.
You did.
I bought, exactly. It was someone who was going out of business. I bought old cabs. I had them painted. I did the whole thing because now I was an expert at starting. I could help you start a business with nothing like that. That's just, I developed this magic. Private label brand. What else did I do? A beauty supply. So I had started and flipped. So I had regained my momentum. Bought a house, got back to normal. Here I am. Then about 8 years ago, I thought to myself, I want a plan B. Because people were always saying, oh, Maria, can I pick your brain? Oh, Maria, how did you do that? Oh, how did you start a podcast? Oh, how did you do this? I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody wants to know how I did stuff, but let me package this up and sell it.
Yeah.
That's how Maria Fontana Consulting came to be. And that's how my business growth made easy methodology came to be. And of course, in between all that, I got certified as an integrative healing practitioner because I was just so passionate about spirituality and growth and all this stuff. So I explored my spirituality and my intuitiveness, and I started to share it in my business. And at first I was afraid because I thought people would judge, but that was part of my growth, because if you think people are judging you, you're judging yourself. So yeah, I had to let that go. Like, what you think of me is none of my business. That became my motto.
So true.
Well, that's one for the book.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Totally.
And that's how the journey is. So now I have a small private boutique organic studio and my consulting office in the same space, separated 2 offices. I still see clients because I love people and I want to keep my craft fresh, because then I have no business going into schools and mentoring people if you're not fresh and on target. And I have my consulting business, and who knows what else is going to happen.
My next question, I'm not sure I should ask it, because part of me is saying you've answered it already, but I'd like you to now narrow it down. So if I said to you, okay, in one word, Maria, tell us, what trait do you have that you're most proud of? One word.
A visionary.
Oh, cool. Love that.
That spot on.
Yeah. And Maria, you're not just a visionary for yourself or for others or for businesses or for people that you touch, or it's like that just is who you are. And what a fantastic word to say. Didn't take you long to dream that one up, did it?
No, girls, I have to be honest with you. I speak of intuition. I am very open about using my intuition. And over the years, you have to just allow our natural greatness to shine through. And we all have it.
Yeah.
mine's no better than yours or Cassie's. We all have it. It's just a matter of letting it flow and letting go of being so in control of everything. Like, how about giving things to our higher power, or just allowing your soul to tell you what to do? And this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with just your energy.
Yeah.
Just your energy.
And trusting.
Yeah. And that is such a difficult thing to do, actually.
Yeah. It really is. It takes
practice. It does. And we've all been in places where our world collapses around us. And we think we will never, ever see the light at the end of the tunnel again. We'll never laugh again. And it's so hard. I wish there was a pill that you could take. I know that there are antidepressants and all of those things, but I don't mean that. I mean that if only we could learn the lesson or have the lesson, learn from it, and then be able to turn it around and use it in a constructive way, but all within a day would be perfect, instead of sometimes a month that it does take.
Sometimes.
Listen, the truth is, Cassie, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I said sometimes years it takes.
Right. Well, and I have to be honest, and again, I speak of this openly. I don't hide it. I fall off the wagon. I still work on myself. I have bad days sometimes, or bad mornings, but it's my choice to turn that around. Like, I have to consciously choose to not go there. And some of the most successful people in the world will say, you have to expect that stuff's going to go wrong every day. And if you already know that, like, something's going to go wrong, but you have to be able to embrace it and make a choice as to how you're going to deal with it. It's when we lose ourselves and we go into that black hole of talking poorly to ourselves. That's something a lot of people are guilty of. I see it. I was guilty of it, constantly talking bad to myself, and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
You have to really talk nice to yourself.
Was it the therapist that helped you with that, would you say? Or was it?
I'll be honest. So yes, my therapist, who I call my healer, we started some intense healing work. We're going back 22 years now. Then I had life coaches. I had business mentors. I had spiritual coaches. In my life, I always have 1 to 2 mentors. I've had mentors, skill set mentors, to teach me how to be a better hairstylist, better colorist. I've had mindset mentors. Your instincts will tell you exactly what you need. If next week I'm like, I really would love to be better at that, or I'd love to figure out how to overcome this, or whatever comes up, you seek out a mentor. And usually the universe will deliver a connection, or, like Cassie might be like, oh, I know so-and-so who's great at that. Let me connect you with them. So that's where we go back to old school, collaborations, referring.
Yeah.
Like, who's the best at that? Well, here, did you connect with this person? So to the answer to that, Chris, it started with my Norma. I call her my angel. And it evolved over the years in different things, depending what I needed to work on. And lots of reading. I'm a personal development junkie. I told you I went back to school and got my certification as an integrative healing practitioner. That encompassed a life coaching degree. It encompassed learning hypnosis and guided imagery, which these were all things when I was behind the chair. I'm like, you know what? I would just be doing Reiki on people. They didn't even know it. They'd be like, I don't know. I always feel so much better when I leave. And it wasn't just about their hair. It was about the whole experience. So once again, you could do anything you want. And the biggest obstacle is letting what people think get in your way.
Yeah.
You're hairdresser. What are you doing? What are you doing that for? Well, I don't understand. I thought you owned a salon. Now you're doing that? I didn't ask your freaking opinion. Mind your business.
That's right. Yeah, I love that.
It's the truth. Like, that saying, first they ask you why, then they ask you how. Okay, now you want to know how. That's why I have my business. Come on over. I'll help you.
Yeah, it's true. Cassie, I know you're burning to ask another question.
there's so many things. Like this is just every time we do one of these, we're always like, oh my God, that was so good. And then the next person comes, we're like, it just almost like it escalates. There's just so much knowledge. And you have hit on so many things that I really believe that unfortunately, that doesn't get pulled into being in beauty school because all of the things you're talking about with the intuition, like we are licensed to touch people. Like we're one of the only professional licensed to touch. And it goes so much further. I always say that the universe gave me this position because I'm behind the chair mentoring and healing and listening. And so how would you, if you were to create something for a beauty school, to pull this into maybe the curriculum, what would that look like?
And I am happy to answer that because I just pitched that to the school I work with locally. I think there should be definitely an emotional intelligence subpar course
I like that.
of the curriculum. Yep. And if they don't create it, I'm going to create it myself. And there should be mindset. There should be stress management. There should be different ways of, people learning how to clear their energy. These the things that are, maybe how to have shifts in mindset. Really, to me, mindset is key because if you teach them how to shift their mindsets, then they can manifest more abundance. They can show up for work. Because let's be honest, a lot of people fail in this industry because they're just not showing up in the right energy. They're not showing up aligned. They're not showing up emanating what they need, and then the universe isn't giving it back because we do attract what we emanate. It's life force. It's just people can argue with me all they want, and I'm like, okay, but I would definitely bring this into the curriculum. I think it's super important how to be compassionate, how to have empathy, how to have self-care. It would be a real big package because boundaries, teaching people how to create boundaries, healthy boundaries is such a huge one. From the hours you want to work to how you want to show up at work and how you interact with your clients and how you treat your clients and how your clients treat you. It makes such a difference. Now, I didn't learn the word boundaries till I was like 42.
Shoot.
I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
A boundary? What? But now I would say it's one of the most important.
It is. Yeah. I want to just jump in at that moment because we're right on the cusp of you also as a service provider have to learn how to set your boundaries in a way of the energy that comes to you. So being an intuitive myself and having downloads, I call them while clients, guests are in my chair, when to speak and when not to speak, and then how to clear yourself at the end of the day so you don't take home that energy that's coming at you, because we're all made of energy, right? So if you create something like this, it would be genius. Chris, don't you think? Like it's just another connection to what we do.
Absolutely. And I think today more than ever, and the reason I say that is because now there is so much that is on social media, YouTube, or the other TikTok, channels that we're all using. And because we're not being so physically connected like we used to be, the pandemic didn't help. It just exasperated it. But we're being given almost like this false illusion of what lives should look like, our lives should look like, because we're busy reading what everybody else's life is look like. Well, I'm not going to put on my Facebook, oh, I had a dreadful weekend. I was up in North Wales. We were shooting a documentary, blah, 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 blah. Why would I write that? If I didn't have something good to say, then I would say nothing. So how are our students going to learn the like you say, the boundaries, we learn from each other. So if I've got an apprentice standing next to me and I've been doing hair for 50 years, they're surely going to learn something about the way that I treat my clients, and I know how to speak with them. We call it consultation. The whole thing is a consultation because the whole thing is a dialogue. So where are they going to learn these skills from? And if we don't take on the responsibility of teaching this at school, then we're really not setting them up to win, because those kids are going to, I say kids, they could be any age from, from 17 to 95, but they could leave school so ill-equipped for doing the most important part of what we do as hairdressers, in my opinion, because we are their therapists, we are their confidants, we are their mums, that we are their counselors, whatever, we have so many hats that we have to wear, that we need these skills big time. And I completely agree with you, Cassie, that this is vital in schools. Our school curriculum is not going to grow into something better that is giving people a future in the beauty business if we don't keep reinventing the curriculum.
Yeah.
So thank you, Maria. And yes, if they don't do it, please will you do it?
Well, I have started this. I've been working on this project since last year. And how it was triggered in me was, like I had said to you, I had been called by a dear friend who's a principal locally. He's like, I know you don't do this, and I know you don't have time, but I need some help. One of our teachers is out, then the pandemic and all this stuff. They were having trouble with tech. He's like, can you please help me? I need help. Okay, what can I do? He's like, I know you're really techie. I know you have an online business. We need help. So I started by, shooting some videos of my salon and, fast forward. And then I started going into the class when the kids, because they were only there like 2 hours a week, and how much, it was just a nightmare. But make a long story short, I saw a lot of gaps, and I saw things in a way that I think a lot of other people that are in that space don't see. And a lot of people might get annoyed at what I'm going to say next, but this is who I am. I'm very authentic and I tell the truth. But I think a lot of the educators and the teachers at the learning basic licensure level, they need to be upgraded. Not them in a way of being negative, but who's checking up on them? Yeah. I see what some of these teachers are doing, and I know people might bash me, and I'm sorry, but you have to look in the mirror. When's the last time you did something to upgrade yourself? You have to work on yourself, and maybe these practices should be taught to the teachers, because when I went in and taught these things to the kids, they sucked it up like a sponge. Their grades shifted. They were showing up. They were passionate. I'm not making this up. This is true. So I think it's a little bit of everybody opening up to these practices, even if you're in business 35 years like I am. Say, Cassie, you're intuitive. I knew you were intuitive before you said anything. I could feel it. But how beautiful is that? And why not share these things openly? Why not educate? And why not, like, our whole industry? And I have talked with many other people about this. I feel a little bit of resistance in our industry. I think us as adults, as senior mentors, as the experts, the icons, the wisdom, the gurus, because I earned my title. What you earned your title. We need to lead by example. And if there's something that we need mentoring on, maybe, if it's making, shifting your mindset a little bit, or maybe if it's how to hone in your energy or how to protect yourself with light when you go into the salon, I say invest in yourself too. I'm not saying just young people. I'm saying across the board, we all need to do this.
Yeah, it's true.
What's really interesting is that our industry is all about staying on top of things. You've got the newest technique, the newest foiling the newest everything, but our curriculum doesn't seem to like really follow that same guideline. So
I mean, I could speak from New Jersey. It's been the same since 1956. I sat on the state board for 2 years, so I know exactly what was going on. I mean, I know what it's just, I know the facts.
yeah,
Things do need to shift a little bit.
yeah, agreed.
And you know, to that point, and like you were saying, Maria, there'll probably be many people that watch this episode and say, well, who does she think she is? You know, it's telling us we've got to upgrade. We are the teachers. Well, you know, hang on a minute. How long have you been doing it? When did you last go to class? And also, are you appearing? Are you showing up in the way that you're expecting the students to show up either to school or, if you were the salon owner, to work? And that's the thing. It's about self-image. It's about really believing that we are in the business of beauty, and beauty is internal as well as it's external. So we've got to be those giving people. And I think we can only give if we don't have expectations of getting back, but we're always prepared to give more and more and more for that other person, whoever it is that's listening.
Right.
So we've heard how many jobs and roles and businesses you've had. What's the worst job you've ever done?
The worst job I've ever done? Well, I don't think any. I mean, the worst, no, let me go back. Before I was an entrepreneur, I might have been 17 years old, and I worked part-time I'm trying to remember, it was like a finance, it was one of my 3 jobs. It was like a finance company, the money store. It's not even around anymore, but it was like a finance. I lasted 2 weeks. The minute that this friggin' tan guy with tight pants on told me to go get his coffee and like sit down and take notes, I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me? I ran. I just,
your tanning salon.
I just couldn't conform, Chris, and I knew it. Like I was a good employee for the salons I worked for, but in my soul, like I wanted to do more, be more. I wanted to be free. I wanted to give more. I didn't want to be rushed. I didn't want to, if my client had a bad day and I could feel they were ready to cry, because I'm empathic, I'm intuitive. I didn't want to just, they weren't a number to me. You know, this was the 80s, 90s. It was like a different kind of energy in the salon. It was like crazy, you know? I just knew. I knew I had to work 3 years before I could open a salon, but I knew damn well I could not conform. I could not conform. And I still till today could not conform. If I had to go get what they call a real job.
Yeah, what's that?
I love that.
my daughter will make fun of me. She's like, did you ever have a real job? I go, no, all my jobs have been fake, Isabella.
Right. I've never worked a day in my life because I've been
exactly
35 years. So I've never worked a day in my life because it's a passion. Turn your passion into a paycheck. And
and listen, and I think in every stage, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I do now, I could sit here and in like 10 minutes reinvent both of you and have you create some kind of expert consultancy business in like 10 minutes flat.
I'm ready.
Ready, and this is what I want people to understand. It doesn't mean that you have to give up one thing or abandon what you're doing. You can have more than one stream of income.
Right.
You can package up your magic. You know, your magic just might be that, you know, you can teach other people how to do the best one type of hair color, or maybe your magic is you can teach people how to create their systems. There's just, everyone's got magic. You've got expertise, you've got life skill, you've got experience. You know, I had one lady, she was a salon owner, then she had twins. I helped her start a coaching business, how to be a salon owner and raise twins efficiently. She's in California. She's killing it. Like there's so many people that just, even CEOs call me, that they're just not happy in their job anymore, but they don't know what to do. So we figure out what's their magic and what are people going to really pay for? What magic are people going to pay for as a consultancy or coaching business? And let's create it. You know, I had someone else the other day, she created her own line of products, private label products. She's been dreaming about it for a year. In 2 months, we did it. Like that's my magic. Like there's nothing you can't do. You can just have to ask, how am I going to do this? Who's going to help me make this real? And it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what happened to you. You got to drop the story and rewrite it. Just change your freaking story.
So true.
You know, and guys, listen, I'm human. I stuff keeps happening in life. Like it would be a lie to say like there's been health issues and this and that. But guess what? Those are things that to me, I feel like you can share certain things to show your vulnerability and be real, but to stay stuck in that place is going to help no one, especially not you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It is so
Yeah.
true. Well, wow. It's been incredible.
See, right? So do you think Maria has taught you some systems, Cassie, that the students would enjoy?
Oh my goodness. I think there's been a plethora of them.
I would love to, dig deeper into this, help you, give you some, more feedback anytime. I'm here for you.
Well, I'm going to be reaching out to you because I have a YouTube channel called Share Your Heart.
Ooh, I love it. I'll follow you.
Yes, it's all about what you were just talking about. So you just have such a great story and such a positive light that you shine. And I think this might be the great time, Chris, to ask if there was a time capsule
Mm-hmm.
You could leave 3 things in there, and 100 years from now, students were digging things up and they found this time capsule. What are the 3 things you would leave them with, or anybody, not just students, but anyone? 3 things.
Anyone? I would leave them with my journal of reinventing yourself, which is something that I keep notes in on how you can shift your mindset and shift your life, and you can really attain anything you want. I call it like my holy grail. And I would leave them with the sense of that you have to really honor your soul, and that we're not just humans, we're beings of light. And again, it's not religious, it is spiritual. And the minute that you connect to that and you realize that every human being that you interact with, if it's me like connecting to you right now, I could feel your energy. Like if you came here, you could actually see the energy between my hands. That to remember that and to ask, you can ask for help. Ask your higher self, God, the universe, but whatever it is you believe in, whatever resonates with you, just ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for enlightenment. And the third thing is to really remind everyone to just love themselves, because that heals everything, man. And it sounds corny and it sounds really simple, but that's what I would leave with people. Because at the end of the day, if they can hone in on these 3 things, they will find their direction naturally. It'll just be unveiled to them. These are the things I wish I would have known 40 years ago. I didn't know.
It's all about timing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. What do you wish that you had learned sooner in your life? But you just answered that.
Yeah.
And it's so hard, I think, Maria, for each and every one of us to believe in ourselves, to believe we're good enough, we're pretty enough, we're skinny enough, whatever our little voices are telling us that stops us doing, what it is that we want to do. And this is where, going back to mentors, certainly for me in my life, that really was the key to make sure that I learned as much as I could from many, many different people that I did. And I was blessed to have done so. And now being able to play that forward and choose which bits of all of those people can you then put together into a nugget for the person that you're mentoring now? You know, and it's knowing what and recognizing what it is that they're looking for and needing in their lives. Not easy, but thank good we've got Maria Fontana Consulting.
Right?
I mean, really. So we will put your details onto the YouTube live, the iConixxx live channel. So send us through any links to anything. I know you're working on a new book and other new ideas. So yeah, just send us links to those, and we will share them with our peeps, and hopefully peeps, yeah, and then hopefully you'll get some new and fresh ideas from students that might contact you. And that's something else I think that people don't realize, that actually if I write to Chris at Chris Sorby NYC, she might even respond, because we kind of think that, oh, no, I can't write to that famous person, quote unquote, because their lives are too busy. Right. But we only got here because we wanted to give.
Yeah. And that's so true. That is so true. And I tell anyone, it costs nothing to ask. When I started my podcast, I remember I had that feeling. I was afraid to send you an email, Chris. I'm like, because to me, you were like a god. You were an icon. Because, again, you still are, of course, but now you're my friend. But the first time I went to send that email, I was like, should I do it? And the list goes on and on. I've had some beautiful, amazing people, but I realized, and we keep learning, we're all the same. We're all humans. We all have magic. And the biggest magic for anyone who's established an experience listening to this, remember to collaborate with each other. Don't put up a wall. Don't think like someone's like stealing your stuff. Don't think someone's better than you. Collaborate, help each other. And for the younger people watching this, instill that in yourself early on. There's nothing more powerful than collaboration and good energy, guys. Remember, my closing statement is, there's plenty for everyone. Plenty. The world is abundant. You just have to stick that in your noodle.
Exactly. And regardless whether we're talking about hair or tanning salons or whatever it might be, there is plenty for everyone.
There really is.
Have you got anything else that you'd like to add?
I don't know. No, I think that's all. And I guess one last thing, that, anyone listening, that it's not only about your technical skills, it's about your emotional intelligence skills. Don't forget about your spirituality. Don't forget about your intuition. Don't forget about your self-care. And that doesn't mean go getting a manicure and pedicure. It means really taking care of your soul. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to pay more attention to that today. That's what we need to pay more attention to. Yeah. And all the other stuff comes. The money comes, the business grows. It's like a Rubik's Cube. You have to align everything right to make things work. It's just the fact.
Yeah. Beautifully ended, Maria. Thank you. And I know I speak on behalf of Joseph as well as Cassie. We thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. And I know anyone that watches your episode will also be truly, truly grateful for the openness and the way that you've shared insights, and how you've been so transparent with how your life hasn't always been what it looks today. And that's encouraging. That inspires us, all of us. So we thank you. And for anyone that wants to see this in the future, it will be on our YouTube channel, which is iConixxx Live. And with that, we say thank you. And I know I'll speak to you soon.
Yes, we will speak soon. Thank you. Sending you both lots of love and light, and everyone else who's out there. And thank you for having me. I love both of you guys.